Hello everyone, welcome back to Maverick Mods. Just a quick midweek update here. Trying to deal with that big pile of rusty, crusty, nasty bolts. What do you do with them? Well, stay tuned. We're going to find out. You're in the middle of your project. You wind up with a humongous bucket of bolts. They're all dirty. They're all rusty. They're nasty. And you really don't want to put them back on your nice, fresh, clean build. But how do you clean your bolts up? Well, over time, a lot of us have wire wheeled them, sandblasted them, just dumped them in a bucket of gasoline, whatever you do to clean the bolts up. Problem is, once the bolts are clean, they're kind of not protected anymore. So how can you protect all your nuts and bolts, keep them from rusting again? I found a product, and believe it or not, I found it, well, you probably would believe it, I found it through watching YouTube videos. This is called, where is it? This particular one is called Insta Black, right there. I'll put a link down below about where I got this from. Not a sponsor. I'm trying it out to see if it works. Here's what I'm doing to make my bolts nice and shiny and protected, and hopefully they won't rust again. So here's my station here where I'm cleaning bolts up, and the best way to describe it, well, it's chemistry, because I can't tell you exactly what happens. What you're doing essentially is you're putting a black oxide coating on all your parts. I've already run one through just kind of as a test. Seems to be working so far. I don't see any real problems. So what do we got here? Well, they give you, well, a bunch of chemicals. So in this case, in this particular kit, this is a cleaner. This is a conditioner or an activator. This is the magic. That's what turns everything black. That's the oxide coating. And then this is a sealer. So first things first, you need to have clean bolts. You can clean them any way you want. I ran mine through the sandblast cabinet. That takes a little bit longer. It does get them a little cleaner. Of course, they're going to rust a lot faster if you don't use this coating. So what I did, ran these through the sandblaster. I'll take some acetone. Just kind of soak them in acetone for a minute. I blew them off after getting out of the blast cabinet, but this will just help get the last little bit of sand and contaminations off. One thing I did learn on the first batch, they have to be clean. If there's a spot that's not clean, the coating is not going to stick to it. So let me finish rinsing these off, and we'll see what the next step is. I used my acetone bath on my parts here, or my bolts here. The first step is the cleaner. The instructions tell you basically how to do it. I wrote it out in big print so that I can actually see it and read it. So the first thing on the cleaner, you dilute it. It's 10% solution, 90% water. It's chemistry, that's all I can tell you. Take your bolts. Dump them in. Now, they say to leave them in for 1 to 2 minutes. I found that if you agitate this just a little bit, not too much because it'll slosh, and start your timer. What is this stuff? Well, be sure and read the instructions. That's why I'm wearing gloves. It says, causes severe skin burns and eye damage. Wear protective gloves, protective clothing, eye protection, got that. Wash thoroughly after handling. Oh, you know, the usual warnings. All right, that's been about 2 minutes. Again, got my gloves. Then they say you need to rinse this. So I've just got an empty container. Next, you're supposed to take these and rinse them off in fresh water for 1 to 2 minutes. I'm back with my rinsed off bolts. Nice thing about this is, since everything is water, you don't have to blow off your bolts in between the steps, maybe except for the last one, which is the sealer. And I've been drying those off beforehand. Next step is the activator. And this one is a 20% solution, 80% water. Still doesn't tell you what it is. It's chemistry. So let's start my timer. And it says let it sit for 2 minutes or so. I'm going to agitate this as well, just so the solution or activator gets everywhere. There's my timer. I'll take these out of the solution, put them back in my container to rinse them, and be right back. As you can see, hopefully, this is after the second rinse. My parts have become progressively darker gray. They're not black yet, though. That's where this next step is. And this is the Black Oxide Coating. This is a 10% solution and a 90% water. So let me get these guys poured in. All right, so I've got my timer set. This one says you leave it in for 2 to 5 minutes. And I'm assuming the longer you leave it in, the darker, the blacker the coating will be. Again, whoa, I spilled. Agitate this a little bit. So I did my timer, got my black coating, been sitting here for 5 minutes. Same thing, we got to rinse it off. After rinsing off, the instructions don't say that you need to dry these, but I figured the sealer is not diluted with water at all. And I don't know if water changes anything with that sealer, so I figured what the heck, we'll just kind of pat dry these, get as much of the water off as I can. And then final step is the sealer. This is full strength, and it's got a stink to it. It's got a little bit of an odor. And same drill. This one says you agitate it for 1 to 2 minutes. See if I can do this without spilling anything. Start my timer. And according to the instructions, there's several different types of sealers. This is what I got with this kit. So we're just going to see how it works out. All right, 2 minutes in the sealer. And, well, I guess you can call it the final step. It's the last part of the final step. You're supposed to let them air dry for 30 minutes, so it says. So let's just pull everything out. Kind of spread them out a little bit. There, close that up so it doesn't evaporate out. And we just let them dry. The instructions, somewhere along the way, let me find them, say that once they're dry, air dry for 15 to 30 minutes. Typically 24 hours later the part will be a deeper black as top coat absorbs into the blackened finish. So just keep working at this. I'll let everything sit for a day. We'll come back and revisit this, see how they look. It is now, well, it's not quite 24 hours later, but it's the next morning. And let's take a look at our parts. They're, well, they're black, and the black doesn't come off in my hands. So I guess, unless they rust, I guess we can call this a success. I guess the real benefit to this versus painting your bolts is this coating basically doesn't add any thickness. So
And you don't, if you use an impact on these or use a wrench on these, if a bolts are painted, then you could obviously chip the paint off. And in theory, that's not supposed to happen here. So I did get all of that, all of this, and these right here. It was obvious on these parts that the blackening solution was kind of losing its strength. So I think I probably reached the limit as to how many pieces I can do with what I used yesterday. The only thing that was kind of interesting, this bolt did not react at all to any of the solutions, and all I can figure is maybe this thing had a zinc coating on it. I'm not sure. That bolt and that nut just did not react at all. At any rate, I think I can call this a success. I'll keep working on all my various nuts, bolts, parts, and pieces, and go to town with it.
That's it for now, guys. I'll put the link down below to the place that I got all the solutions from. And everybody, have a great day.